Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. Today we're going to use our Bash Barb and do some of the Tier 101 pits. We've gone through the mid-season patch cycle. The Bash build itself has basically been unaffected. The Bash tempers did not get nerfed. And what they did is they lowered the difficulty of the pit scaling and then also reduced Tormented Bosses' health by 30%. So what we can do today is we can run a couple of Pit Tier 101s, which give 60 Neathiron, which is kind of like if you think about things in terms of breakpoints, 101 is kind of the sweet spot for breakpoints. It gives 60 Neathiron. It climbs up from Tier 61, which gives you 20 Neathiron. And it goes up 1 Neathiron per pit level all the way to 101 when some form of diminishing return kicks in. And when you do pit tier 102, you also just get 60. So it's a couple of more pits before you get 61 Neathiron, so it's only really worth it to do 101. The other thing to note about pits is at tier 100, the monster level is 199 inside the pit, and then it never goes to 200 or beyond. So at 101, it's also monster level 199, and it gives you the 60 Neathirons. That's kind of the way to do it. We're constrained on bundled herbs because this character, the Bash character, isn't particularly fun to play in open world farming, and we haven't really played the game since our last video. So we're out of bundled herbs, which means we can't really craft any consumables, which means we can't fix our resistances any higher than this without doing some farming. Doesn't really matter. The build is definitely good enough to play in these pit levels. I think these clears take me like between 5 and 6 minutes, which isn't perfect, but it's also not bad. We would basically want to use the master working of our gear to decrease the time it takes to run the 101s. So rather than decrease the pit level, we'll just do it like this. And basically the Bash style is pretty boring. You just kind of walk forward, grab everything with Steel Grasp, and bash it. So really the only gameplay choice is, well, how forward do I want to walk? Do I want to try and grab more than one pack? Kind of funny, I hadn't died in the pit in a while, and then as soon as I turn on the recording, get a death. That's okay, it's softcore, doesn't matter at all. So when you're using this build, you've got all of the stuff that affects basic skill damage, and kind of the key one is the unique gloves, the Pain Gorgers. And Steel Grasp is doing two things, right? We've got Steel Grasp stuns on one of the tempers, which is actually really nice, right? So as soon as I grab everything, it's stunned. And then there's another graphic that looks like a little dust cloud above the monsters' heads, which means it's proccing the Pain Gorgers effect. We can just read that real quick. So damaging enemies with a non-basic skill marks them for 3 seconds. So that's that little dust cloud thing above their head. So it's 3 seconds. When a basic skill first hits a marked enemy, the basic skill is damaged. Damage is echoed to all marked enemies, dealing 190% increased damage, but a max roll would be 200%. So Steel Grasp is doing at least 3 different things. It's stunning, it's marking for Pain Gorgers, and it's also making enemies vulnerable, and I believe it's also extending Berserking, or granting Berserking. Yeah, so Steel Grasp makes them vulnerable. Steel Grasp makes them vulnerable for 3 seconds, gives us Berserking for 2 seconds, marks them with Pain Gorgers for 3 seconds, and then stuns them for 1.9, almost 2 seconds. So It's basically a steel grasp build. The iron skin is another source of unstoppable, which at my progression level is pretty important. Iron skin also gives a tremendous amount of damage reduction due to the Iron Warrior aspect, which we have on Amulet. So Iron Skin gives like 53% damage reduction. No, it doesn't say it here. The barrier absorbs 214% of max life. Right, our max life 85k. We could get that over 100k with consumables. And then Iron Skin heals for 10% of the barrier's original amount. So the healing that this thing is creating is going to be crazy. The barrier is going to be really good. And then with the aspect, it also grants unstoppable and 53% damage reduction. So we've got damage reduction from Challenging Shout and Iron Skin. We've got Rallying Cry, which is giving us unstoppable, and Iron Skin is also giving us unstoppable. And then War Cry is basically just the War Cry buff, but the 6 enemies clause comes up often in the pit, right? We're always grabbing at least that many enemies and bringing them in. And then the last thing worth mentioning is we use the shift button quite a bit to stand still, and that works with our intercom. So ideally what we do is we just walk up to a pack, stand still with shift, and then grasp everything in. That's kind of the easy way to play. It's a very easy play style. We have really good cooldown reduction with Steel Grasp cooldown reduction and Weapon Mastery skill cooldown reduction. So our Steel Grasp charges refresh really fast. 4.6 seconds to refresh a charge. With Iron Warrior up, or Iron Skin, we're kind of unkillable. So not a particularly fast run, but we're talking while we're doing stuff. And then here with the bosses, we just want to keep Steel Grasping the boss so that the vulnerable is kind of always up. So we just want to make sure that the vulnerable is up and that the little cloudy mark above them is up for the Pain Gorger's proc. Okie dokie, so we get our 60 Neathiron and our items, and the Stygian stone drop rate is abysmal. We haven't really seen Stygian stones in the last day, which is very disappointing. Which means we only have 15 Stygian stones, which means we can summon 7 tormented bosses. So seeing as how there are 6 total, that's basically what the game plan is. We'll just go ahead and start summoning the tormented version of all these bosses now. And then I guess we'll open our goblin bag and then call it a season. So let's see. Let's start with Varshan. I don't even know why I'm bothering to look. I have a bunch of rings in the stash that have critical strike chance and attack speed on them. That's all I would be looking for. So I don't know what to expect the difficulty level of this to be. When we were doing it with the Dust Devil build, it didn't seem like we were going to be able to kill Varshan, but that's before we were masterworked and in position to kill Doriel. So now this costs 3 of each mat, plus the 2 stones. The stones are pretty precious, but let's just play them out. Yeah, I figured this wouldn't be too much different than a pit boss now. Okay. So for these bosses, you're going to get a lot more stuff. You're going to get like 5 on average, probably, uniques. Oh, we got an Andariel's Visage. That's cool. So we got an Uber for that. This was recently buffed. I believe the Poison Nova was buffed, the Poison Nova damage. But I think it's also currently bugged where the Poison Nova graphic is disjointed from the actual Poison Nova hitbox. Gore's Wraps just got a buff. This got buffed up to 50% for the damage, for the unique aspect. I should have a perfect one in the stash. And then for the Ring of Red Fury, I've got one in stash that's got a Max Fury Greater Affix, so it's going to be hard for anything to replace that. And this is a min-rolled aspect for 10,000 steps, but we would probably look at move speed over anything else for that. Okay, so we'll just Vendor and Kyovashed between bosses. We literally did not pay attention to Varshan's mechanics in the slightest. At the most, we steel grasped his ad at one point. That was it. Okay, stash the Andariel's Visage. We can just ditch the brains, that's no big deal. Strength and Fury per second, that hat's not bad. And then somewhere we've got our favorite hat in here, which is the one that's might be over here. Yeah, max resource and cooldown reduction, greater affixed. This would be the one that we would consider selling if we could get like something like $250 million gold, 250 million gold for it in that ballpark. Although this could be a good helmet for the Whirlwind Barbarian. And then our Gore's Wraps. Yeah, our Gore's Wraps is max rolled. So this one has 4 plus 4 to Whirlwind, plus 50% on the affix, and a good critical strike chance, 7 out of 8. So that's a pretty good Gore's Wraps. It would have to be greater affix to be better than that. This is our Ring of Red Fury with greater affix max fury, so those are both garbage. And then our Fields of Crimson has greater affix rupture cooldown reduction, which means basically anything else is also garbage. So the Gore's is garbage, and then 10,000 steps. Yeah, so basically, it's to replace my 10,000 steps, it's got to be perfect on the unique aspect, plus have perfect movement speed. So we sell the uniques. Sell those. And then what's nice is now all of the additional equipment that's dropping is 925, which on the non-tormented version of the bosses, you don't get guaranteed to get 925 drops. You can get drops in the 800s, which are pretty worthless now. So yeah, swords are always worthless, or weapons without greater affixes. You can look at the rings. The rings, you're looking for critical strike chance, attack speed, and either a res or something else. And then amulets or whatever. Okay. Alright, let's go kill Grigor next. See, like, we really want to do that Legion event, too, for the bundled herbs, but we'll resist the temptation. Our mount is like the full bossing setup, so you get the pony from killing Duriel, you get the armor for the mount from one of the bosses, and that trophy I changed out to also be one of the trophies you get from one of the bosses. So it's nice and on theme, and then our armor set is just the second version of the Battle Pass armor. Although the red version's kind of cooler. I don't think it goes as well with the weapons, though. Oh, I don't have enough steel on me? That's okay. Oh, nice. I'm glad they mailed that to me. That was nice. Okay, let's grab another pack of steel. And then these we can leave on the ground. I guess we don't need to leave those on the ground just now. I do have the other character that can potentially use them. Okay, so now this costs 15 steel and 2 stones, rather than 5 steel. Okay, that was pretty easy too. Don't think I got any Ubers that time. Shouldn't expect an Uber. It's like probably like a 1 out of 10 occurrence. Got a Rambaladinis with a 0.3 roll. I believe we have Battle Trance with greater fix in the stash. The GA normal equipment is not particularly good. Yep, and the Twin Strikes isn't good. Okay.
Can I help you? Well struck.
Just checking boots if they're dodge charges plus movement speed. Okay. We'll continue to stash the greater affixes for now until we run out of space, and then we'll thin them out again. But we don't stash the extra uniques. So that one's got a higher unique aspect, but I think I prefer the ranks to double swing plus the attack speed. So this one has max attack speed and max double swing ranks. So to beat this, it would have to be basically perfect. Max attack speed, max double swing ranks, and the unique aspect. Romuladini's a 0.3 is definitely not it. Penitent Greaves, what do I got? I got a 14 out of 15 there. Here's a 15 out of 15. And then the question is, do you favor the movement speed or not? And that's generally what I've been doing, is the 14 and the 17 movement speed has been my preference there. And then Battle Trance, I should have a greater affix here. Yeah, so DR close on the greater affix. You would, I mean, this one would be a good candidate for all greater affixes. All of these, all the affixes are good there. The worst one probably being the Frenzy ranks. Okay. 2 more bosses to go for the normal rotation, or for the sub-bosses. So we'll go over to Zur. Should have enough exquisite blood on us for this. Okay, that costs 27 blood. Okay. Can't quite see. Diadem of the Ancient. I think I already got that. That's one of the cosmetics. There's the boss mat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 uniques. So just the normal amount. So that Diadem of the Ancient. Oh no, it's his crown, which I didn't have already, actually. That's cool. This is one of the cosmetics that I didn't have from the boss ladder. So this is a headpiece that you can wear. Okay, cool. And then the Romuladini is garbage. 2 Butcher's Cleavers. I believe the Butcher's Cleaver I have in inventory is also basically perfect. It's got the high lucky hit plus the high CSC injured. I mean, this has got actually, I don't know. I mean, this thing might be a good CC tool with the fear and slow on 100% lucky hit chance. I actually don't know. And then the Rage of Harrogath, to beat the one that I have in inventory, needs to be absolutely perfect. It's got to have perfect CSC elites DR bleeding, and the lucky hit chance for CDR. Fury on kill cold res. Okay.
Fair trade.
Like, is this one bad? Strength attack speed.
Anything else?
You kind of just don't want to waste your time doing rerolls on anything that doesn't have greater affixes at this stage in the game. Is why you ditch those quickly. So this one, yeah, this is 40% on the lucky hit, 13.5 out of 14 for DR bleed, and 7 out of 8 for CSC elites. So it's basically going to be impossible to replace one of these. Yeah, like both of these have 3% CSC elite, so those are garbage. And then our Butcher's Cleaver even has a greater affix, so it's got max roll lucky hit chance, and it's got a decent CSC injured with a greater affix. And then we can't even look at a Ramaladini's unless it's got a 0.4 GA. Our Andariel's Visage from this run. So far we got an Andariel's Visage and the cosmetic from the boss. Okay, so now we need to craft the higher tier Glacial Fissure Sigil. So this one requires 2 stones, 3 times the amount of Distilled Fear, same amount of Sigil Powder. And then now we just run Glacial Fissure as a Nightmare Dungeon. We're probably not going to be able to just walk through it because we don't have Ghost Walkers. So we can't just go unstoppable and pass through the enemies. So we're probably going to have to bash our way through this a little bit. So as an attempt to stutter step, I've got my side mouse button mapped to shift. I can kind of click my side mouse button to step forward and bash. But I'm pretty sure what people do is they put bash on like a number key. Kind of play it one-handed like this though, because I've got shift and I've got bash, which I'm holding down when I hit shift, and then I can throw out the chains with my other finger. So you can kind of one-hand it. These monsters are 150, that's not too tough. Probably just better to use shift rather than the side mouse button. Like, does anyone actually stutter step like that? I have no idea. That's why 2 sources of unstoppable is nice. Over there, I guess. Everyone complains that this Nightmare Dungeon gets old fast. Like, imagine if we were trying to do rotations of this. Not bad. Binding the Fell Steed, that looks like a cosmetic. Not sure if we can get dupe cosmetics, though. Like, do we already have whatever this is? Can level up Might a tad. This gave an appropriate amount of glyph XP. That was actually kind of nice. Let's make sure I didn't leave anything behind. So what is this? This is okay, so this is a trophy that I didn't have. Interesting. And then as far as uniques, doesn't look like we got anything good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got 6, but no Ubers. Unfortunately, I think Undariel just has the same cosmetic drops as Duriel, so we already got the pony, so there's going to be nothing to get in the last 2 boss runs. Max life is always good. A hammer is useful, so this having strength max life is actually keepable. That one's not great.
Fair trade. On the road.
Okay, what do we got for Hellhammer? 4 upheaval. This has a higher base damage. And this has a better DR burning. So this one's actually an upgrade. So my current version's a 919 rather than a 925. I think I'll take the 925. This one has a better aspect, slightly worse attack speed, slightly worse critical strike chance. I think on something like this, though, the only reason you would equip this is for that lucky hit chance to freeze. So we'll take that. 10,000 steps. So this one's tricky, right? So they both have perfect move speed. This one is +2 to ground stomp with a better unique aspect. This one's +3 to ground stomp with a worse unique aspect. I think we have ground stomp break the tie there. Mother's Embrace, we should have, yeah, greater aspect or greater affix. I think we just keep the GA one. And then, yeah, we talked about Battle Trance. It's got to be pretty good to replace that with the max DR close. Okay, so do we have what we need to do Duriel and Ondariel runs? We do, so it's going to be 6 each of the Uber Boss mats, which we have, so let's go do Duriel. We had gotten pretty good at this fight with our Dust Devil build. At one point to get the Doombringer, when we were hunting for our first Uber, we may have done 5 Duriel runs and only died 2 or 3 times total. Okay, summon the Uber version. We'll use shift here to move around. Okay, now avoiding these things is going to be hard. We're going to have to keep some distance and then actually avoid them. Like that. Okay, which one's Duriel? He's up there. Okay, we dodge that. Bastard actually ate me? Yeah. That last attack gave me the debuff. There's another debuff. Another one. Surprised the last tick took so much. We got a helm with a GA, that's nice. That's our first GA on a unique this run. Looks like a Godslayer crown, unfortunately. No, it's a Tusk helm. Unfortunately, I already have a Greater Affix Tusk helm, and it's on the Max Fury. So the Max Fury on it is very high, which is one of the things you want when you're running Tusk helm. Two of these X-Falls. Oh, we got a Grandpa? That's awesome. Okay, this is basically, outside of the Shaco, this is the one we want. Grandfather enables quite a few of the endgame builds. So basically, if you think about the way progression works, we're at a point in progression where we're technically in early endgame, and to play all of Rob's builds are like Pit 130 plus, right? So basically, his guides are all for players that are like at a progression level that's actually similar to him, right? And that basically means you have all of the Uber uniques, and you're in position to farm Uber uniques with greater affixes, right? That's like end game. So having a grandfather now should open up the ability to make proper bleed builds, basically. So that's really cool. That should open up endgame up for us a little bit more. I don't think there's any other Uber unique that's as mandatory nowadays outside of Tyrael's Might. Okay. Alright, so this ended up being an awesome run. We got 2 Ubers, and we got a couple of cosmetics. technically a day off here, but I took a work call there for a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's stash this grandpa. That's really exciting, getting the grandfather. I don't even know what it actually looks like equipped. We'll put that on after we vendor. Okay, so unfortunately this Tusk Helm isn't really going to be keepable. It's on my other character, though. Maybe I'll just throw it in there for now. Soul Brand is pretty bad, right? The one I had in stash was just better anyway. I've got a Greater Affix Azure Wrath. That's got higher... this one has perfect attack speed, but this one has a higher lucky hit damage anyway. Flicker steps need to be 4.0, right? And the movement speed basically needs to be perfect. Nope. X-Falls could be an upgrade, so this is good CDR on this one, right? Yeah, so this one just seems to be better in most metrics. Okay, last boss is Ondariel. Hitting the grandpa there was nice. We'll definitely try and do something with that now that we got it. Grandpa and Shaco was kind of always like what you wanted for the Whirlwind setup too. So Rob's got an in-depth video on all of the Whirlwind scaling. We'll take a look at that in 2 seconds with the upgraded aspect and what that means. Okay, do the Tormented version. 6 of the mats plus 2 stones. We should be down to 3 stones. Jeez, can you stay in the arena for like 2 seconds? I thought we might die from Ondariel. We're going to do Uber Lilith also, and we'll probably die a bunch there too. Ondariel's just one of those don't know exactly what to expect situations. Okay, I'm not paying attention to the debuff at all. That's definitely what got me. Like, during the Duriel fight, I'm paying attention for the debuff. During that fight, I wasn't at all. Okay, what do we get? We'll say all of our luck was used on the cosmetics and the grandfather. Couple more Tusk Helms. Another X-Falls, couple of Flicker Steps. A pair of boots with evade charges and greater affix movement speed would be welcomed.
Dark days upon us. Fair trade. Anything else?
Max CSC, max resource, that's not bad. Might not be good discipline keeping that, but I've got mules that have a ton of non-GA amulets. Alright, so there's no way we're keeping either of the Tusk Helms. Flicker Steps have to be a 4. Yeah, there's no way any of those are good.
For the light.
Okay, so last thing to do is Uber Lilith. Real quick, let's just talk about the Dust Devils. Oops, did not mean to do that. Search. Dust. Okay. So we're just looking at the flat damage of the Dust Devils, right? So Fierce Winds is 3 Devils that do 3.4k. Devilish is 2 Dust Devils that do 2.9k. This one is just called Dust Devils. It does 4.8k kind of randomly. Like, Whirlwind leaves behind the Dust Devil, so you can't really aim it. And then Windlasher does the least amount, 2.4k, but you can generate these pretty fast and you can aim them, right? Because you can aim them with double swing. So these do the least amount of damage. These do 2.4k. And the buff that they did was they basically doubled the Whirlwind Dust Devil damage. So that just shows how important the flat damage is. If that suddenly makes the build good for high pits, it's because the Whirlwinds themselves can deal more damage per Whirlwind. And you're limited to 15 Whirlwinds on screen at one time. So there's like a limit to how much damage that can be done, and it's based on having 15 Whirlwinds that are doing the maximum amount of damage, where the multipliers multiply the base, right? So it's important to have the highest base. Okay, so now let's do Uber Lilith. For Uber Lilith, it would be good if we had a couple of bundled herbs so that we could max out our shadow resistance. Does it matter? Probably not. Did I repair? I probably did. Yeah, okay. And then my inventory's clear. Okay. Okay, let's go give Uber Lilith a shot. So they changed the animation in the second phase of the skulls. They've made them just purple blobs now so that it's obvious that they're shadow damage. Okay, we've taken one hit. Yep, that was definitely another hit, no doubt. That's a lot fairer now, which is nice. That's a third hit. We might not have the move speed actually required to deal with this. Yep. So we're at 6 stacks. That's not good. Yep. How difficult is this going to be, really? I hate when the stats and mats has the little notification even though it's already done, and then also the profile notifications are extremely obnoxious with the titles. Do I have any more titles? I got 2, yeah. So you got a few titles for killing those Ubers. It's good that Uber Lilith is the toughest boss regardless. The toughest monster. Okay. Okay, sorry, those things bother my OCD. The hitboxes on those things are much fairer these days. That one is hard to avoid unless you get to the bottom of the arena on a timely fashion. I avoided it that time, that was good. No, I didn't. I'm at 3 stacks. 4 stacks. Should get to phase 2 though. Nah, she's cheesing me out now. Yeah, she got a freebie there. This is like the Andariel fight where her health is like protected for some reason. seriously, why can't you die? Hello? It's little things like that where they've made the fight much better, but at the same time, like, is there a reason that she wouldn't die and go into phase 2? Like what's that about? I got hit once there. That's unfortunate. Hit again. That's 3 stacks. Hello, die. I just face tanked that out of annoyance. This will be our last run regardless of outcome. Okay, so regardless, I've got to get through 2 more. Yeah. Got to get through 2 more cuts. And then kill her. It's doable if you don't take any damage in the first phase, basically. You can dodge everything. Alright, I think that's enough for now. Let's open all these goblin bags. Picking up a bunch of scattered stones. There's another unique buried in there somewhere. Rage of Harrogath, not perfect. Fields of Crimson, not perfect. Poison Res, whatever. Fury on the Kill isn't great. Armor's okay. Fury per seconds, whatever. Shadow Res, none of these are great. And then now's basically the time to go through our stash of items with greater affixes. Grandpa's favorited. The max life on this thing is really good. As well as the double damage, obviously. Amulet's just a battle trance. None of it's got any upgrades for my codex or anything. Take a look at the glove real quick. Look for movement speed boots. This is still bugged. Okay, that's basically it. That's everything we can do. That was our Goblin event bag. That's all gone. That was a good use of our Stygian stones. We got 2 Ubers. We got the Undariel's Visage. We got the Grandfather. And then we got the unique helm, or the cosmetic helm, excuse me, and then another cosmetic for the horse. So that was a pretty good run. Could not beat Uber Lilith. Uber Lilith is pretty challenging. We'll do that again at some point offline, but in terms of our season journey, that's the last outstanding achievement, is just beating Uber Lilith. So if we didn't get the Resplendent Spark from having beaten Uber Lilith on our Eternal Realm character, we wouldn't have been able to craft that Shaco in the last video. So that was kind of a fortunate bug that went in everybody's favor, that you got credit for previous Uber Lilith kills. So anyway, all right, guys, take care. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.